And we're live. Hey guys, welcome to Whiskey, Wine, and Writing. This is the final Pitch War special show. We have a bunch of mentors here. Actually, we're all mentors, and the creator of Pitch Wars, Brenda Drake, is here with us tonight. So we're going to go down and introduce ourselves, tell you a little bit about what we're looking for, and then let the questions commence. So start with me. I'm Natasha. I'm rep by Laura Bradford of the Bradford Literary Agency. I am looking for a mentee in the adult category who does romantic suspense, contemporary romance, urban fantasy, or just something that happens to snag my attention. So let's move on to Rosalind.
Okay, I am Rosalind Eves, and I don't have a name tag because I'm on my husband's iPod. And anyway, and I'm technically challenged. But I am looking for YA. Really, I like anything that's well written, but I'm especially drawn to historical fantasy, fantasy of all genres. I also like light sci-fi. I like contemporary, although I will admit that I am a nerd. And so if you have really cool contemporary characters, I probably won't be able to help you with them. So I'm represented by Josh Adams of Adams Literary, and my debut historical fantasy, The Blood Rose Rebellion, comes out next fall with Knopf.
Awesome. Trisha.
Hey, I'm Trisha Lever. I am a YA mentor this year, or every year. I only mentor YA. I am looking for, in particular, contemporary YA, historical fiction, reality-based sci-fi, for me in another world, or in some aliens, and I'm lost all the time. It's some counterfactual fiction. I am repped by the amazing Kevin Lyons at Marshall Lyon Lit, way out on the West Coast. I write across the board. I have genre ADD. I write sci-fi and psychological horror for Flux. I write YA historical fiction for Merit Press. And I write YA contemporary, The Secrets We Keep, for FSG Macmillan.
Excellent. Nikki.
Hi, I'm Nikki Roberti. I am repped by Susie Townsend and Jess Dallow of New Leaf Literary. I am a young adult mentor this year, and I'm looking for contemporary, light sci-fi, historical fiction, and thriller suspense.
Short and sweet. I didn't even get a sip of my water. It's okay.
Sorry.
Marianne.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann. I am represented by Rachel Stout at Distal and Goderich. I think everybody knows I'm interested in romance. Bring me something steamy, bring me something hot, and I don't care if it's contemporary or I'm accepting some fun fantasy as long as there's romance in it. I just want somebody to fall in love.
Awesome. Lindsay.
Hi, I'm Lindsay. I'm a YA mentor this year, and I'm looking for YA only. Don't send me anything else, and mostly speculative fiction, fantasy, science fiction, or anything under that umbrella.
Awesome. Katie.
Hi, I'm doing new adult and adult this year, and I'll do anything fantasy, science fiction, lots of science fiction. I like science fiction. Psychological horror, psychological thrillers, supernatural, paranormal, urban fantasy. If you've got a new twist, I'm all in, and diversity galore. I'll do retellings. I like it creepy, dark, and weird, and I just mean basically not fluffy. I'll do romance as long as it's a subplot. I don't like it as the main focus. I want the other parts, like the science fiction or the fantasy or the urban fantasy, to be the main focus. I write science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And I have, my debut came out a couple of weeks ago, and it's called Chameleon, The Domino Project, and it is futuristic science fiction.
Awesome.
Voila.
Jeannie.
Hi. So I'm Jean Marie Anaya. I'm represented by Jessica Sinsheimer of the Sarah Jane Fryman Literary Agency. I write YA contemporary, and I'm also looking for YA contemporary, realistic contemporary fiction. And I'm also interested in maybe some thrillers. If you've got something like Dangerous Girls, I'm your girl.
Awesome. Charlie.
Hi, I am Charlie Holmberg. I am the author of the Paper Magician trilogy and Followed by Frost, which is coming out in September from 47 North. I am doing adult and new adult pitch tours, and anything fantasy I want to look at, especially if it's romantic fantasy. And I'm also taking space opera. So if it reads like Star Trek, I'm your girl.
Awesome. And say hi to our fearless leader here, Brenda Drake.
I knew I was going to forget about that mute button. Hi, everybody. I'm Brenda Drake, by the way. And I don't know what I'm supposed to say here. I'm looking for all your submissions so that I can pass them on to everybody else.
Brenda means to say she is the creator, the fantastic creator of Pitch Wars, and she is so just humble and bashful about it. But none of this would be happening, none of these great agents, none of these opportunities would be happening without this right here, phenomenal lady. So.
Thank you, Natasha. And none of it would be happening without all the wonderful mentors that give all their time and help you guys with your manuscripts and stuff like that. Without these mentors, this would not be here. So I'm really grateful for all of you guys and giving up your time and helping out the community. It's such a great experience because I can call all of them my friends, and it's really exciting. So I'm so excited this year. We have some really great mentors this year. So all of them are great.
Yay! All right, so we do have questions coming in, which, you know, I knew we would. So Jill Andrews is the first one, and she says, to the mentors who are interested in historic, what periods do you love and which periods make you pass? So if you do, you know, historic, feel free to shout out here.
Time period I would pass on. As long as it's done well and is researched really well, I'd be like, bring it on.
All right, anybody else?
I'm a little more specific. I am probably 17th century forward. With a special sweet spot for me would be the Revolutionary, the Civil War, and anything with pirates.
Wait,
I'm
sorry, I heard pirates. Is pirates pass or?
No, if it has pirates in it, oh my God, I'm so in.
Okay.
Right now.
Sorry, I'm looking through the feed for questions too, so I only heard part of that. Okay, who is next?
I'll go. I would actually really love. Oh, sorry.
Wait, who's going? Rosalind?
Go ahead. Yeah, I was just going to say I like anything from about the Renaissance on, but I especially 19th century, Victorian, American, either one of them. My dissertation was on 19th century women in the American West, so if you have something Western, I love that time period.
Awesome.
As Victorian, I think I said that.
Katie, were you trying?
Yeah, I absolutely adore ancient history. If you can figure out a way, if you have a story that has science fiction woven into like ancient Egypt or Samaria or something like that, send it to me. Give me all your Stargates. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Anybody else?
I'm accepting historical, but it's not at the top of my list. However, my doctoral dissertation that I never finished was on 18th century French literature. So if you have anything like in the 18th century in Europe, then definitely send it over.
Awesome. Anybody else want to chime in?
Yeah, I'll take historical fantasy. And I really like anything, but I have no background in any history courses, so I'll have to Google a lot if you mind.
All right, awesome. All right, so next question is from Lauren Patton. In the last year, what 2 recently published books really grabbed you? So I'm going to tier this one, starting with Lindsay.
Oh, Lord. I don't know if it was in the last 2 years, but within the last 2 years, I finally read Scott Lynch's The Gentleman Bastard series, which just on a world-building perspective, I'm still thinking about all the time.
Awesome. All right, KT.
It's gonna sound really anything by Victoria Schwab, Darker Shade of Magic, Vicious. Yeah, I love the woman's writing. So. Oh, did I mute myself? Was I muted?
No, you're okay.
I was like, wait a second, I've been muting myself. Sorry.
No problem. Jeannie.
I too have to look at the bookshelf. You know, it's probably the best for me. The tippy top is All the Bright Places. That one's just absolutely fantastic. Totally heartbreaking and wonderful.
Going to bed.
And also, just to plug my critique partner, Alexis Bass, her debut, Love and Other Theories, was fantastic. So that's another. And I mean, I read out of the genre that I write, but they do tend to be my favorites. So that's why those two are contemporary.
Awesome. Charlie.
The two that I read in the last year that really stuck with me, the first one was Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. It was really good, great character development, great way of just everything. If you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. The other one was Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. It is an astounding book, and his world building is crazy, and so is his character development. So those are the two for me.
Awesome. Rosalind.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of two, but one that really impressed me was Naomi Novik's Uprooted, which is this really wonderful, it feels a little bit 18th, 19th century, but this fantasy world with a lot of Polish folklore elements, and I just loved that combination of fantasy and folklore. So
Cool. Patricia.
Only two, huh? So on the probably fantasy front, Becky Wallace's The Story Spinner, just wow. If you haven't read it, just wow. And then on the sci-fi, but straddling, you know, that contemporary sci-fi kind of genre blend would be hands down Jen Brooks in A World Just Right.
Sweet. Nikki.
This is hard.
It's never easy.
Good book. I'm actually
books.
reading The Truth About Alice, and I'm the type of person that if I'm really loving what I'm reading, it's like the best thing I've ever read all year. and that's a young adult contemporary by Jennifer Matthew, if I pronounce that right, told in like 4 POVs, and it's just, I don't know, it has moved me in ways I have not been moved. In like the sci-fi fantasy realm, though, I am a huge fan of the Under the Never Sky trilogy by Veronica Rossi. That thing rocked my world. I loved that trilogy.
Awesome. Marianne.
The most recent one, Tiffany Wright's The Siren, which won an Arita at RWA, and I talked about it ad nauseum on the last adult chat, so I won't go into it. And Tangled by Emma Chase, which is a smutty, dirty read from a guy's point of view, and is total candy. So if you like that, that's good stuff.
Sweet. As for me, I like Shiloh Walker's. I just read The Missing, which is the first in her FBI, psychic FBI series, which was phenomenal. Like, I read it in a day. It was really good. And yeah, anything by her. And also Julianne Walker. I know it's all the Walkers, but they are just phenomenal authors. Brenda, do you have anything to add? What are you reading?
Sorry. I'm answering questions. Sorry. Well, I'm going to mention some mentor books that I've read that I really enjoyed reading. Of course, Katie Hanna's Chameleon, loved it. And then Trisha, The Secrets We Keep. Oh, my God. I loved that. So I've been reading my mentors' books and enjoying them. You all should read them, and they're all listed on the sidebar of my website. I really enjoyed those. And I'm enjoying all the ones that I've been reading. So.
Okay, awesome. We have a technical question about submission. I don't know if you already answered this one, Brenda. When they do the online form, do they paste the titles in italics or go all caps?
Well, so italics does not work in the form, but there'll be instructions in the form, but titles should be all caps. So if you could keep your titles all caps would be great.
Perfect. And we have a question for Charlie from Maxim Martineau. I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. You're not wanting anything steamier than the 100,000 Kingdoms. She haven't read. Do you have another example? She's basically asking, how steamy do you want it?
Okay, so it can have sex, but I don't want to hear the word penis.
That is a great definition.
There you go. So,
you know, I'm email you that word 9 times tonight.
We're just gonna say penis, just to, just put it out there now.
What if that's the character's first name?
Like closed door like love scenes. Like it's okay if the door's open, but I want the camera pointed at the ceiling, not at the people. If that makes
So
sense.
more of like a Fade to Black.
What if they say penis with an accent?
Black. I just don't want like details.
What if penis is the guy's first name?
Like, well, I guess it's not out yet, but people are really good at it.
All right, so somebody asked, Maria M asked, is speculative fiction too broad as a genre in a query letter?
Not for me. I'm good.
So I'm going to say that would vary on the mentors you're submitting to, Maria, so maybe ask them, whoever you're planning on, just shoot them a tweet and be like, hey, is that too broad for you? Do you want me to narrow it down? Because I have a feeling that's going to be a taste preference, unless anybody disagrees.
Star Wars, which is like fantasy and science fiction, I would prefer you have a genre listed. That's really broad.
Yeah. In my mind, like speculative fiction is a huge broad category that encompasses horror, psychological horror, fantasy, dystopian. So yeah, narrowing it down would be great.
See, it varies by mentor. So, so just you know, whoever you think is subbing to, their Twitters are all here, and they're, you know, all on their blogs and everything. So just hit them up and be like, do you want me to narrow it down? Do you not want me to narrow it down? And go from there. So LC Holst says, hello, Pitch Wars mentors. Would you like to see anything in our query letters that wouldn't normally be in an agent query?
You can't personalize them, so because they're going to like 5 mentors at once. So I'd probably keep that more generic.
I agree. I don't, you know, I want to see the meat of your story. That's the main thing I want to see. So I'm not looking for anything really outside of that. I want to know about the story. If you want to include 1 or 2 lines about who you are, that's great. But I'm going to be stalking anybody that I might want to mentor.
Twitter is a beautiful thing.
But yeah, but you know, it is going to 5 different mentors, so you can't really personalize it to each mentor. So I think, you know, making sure that meat of your story is going to be the best utilization of your time for that. Anybody have anything to add for that? No? Okay, we're good. All right, so Philip Ray says, because I accidentally skipped this one, is it appropriate to mention serious potential in the Pitch Wars query?
Yeah.
Serious potential or series potential?
Series.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal either.
No.
I will say, though, if it, for me, when it comes to a series, I want a completed arc in the first book, meaning that there's not some huge cliffhanger where I have to wait to pick up the next book. Whatever the first arc is, I want that complete in that first book. It can still be a series without a major cliffhanger, and that's what I want if it's serious potential. Anybody have anything to add?
Don't send us books.
Just agreeing.
What?
Book 1 should be its own book.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that either. Don't send us what?
Book 3.
Oh yeah, don't send us book 3. That would be bad. Dana, oh my God, these names! I'm so sorry. I'm so terrible at them. Nunighoff says, for genre-bending novels, what would interest you? I don't know what you mean by genre bending. Do you mean like combining genres?
Yeah,
like
I think like fantasy science fiction like has a mixture of magic and science or stuff like that. I think that's what they mean. Or I don't know, horror romance.
It's like genre blending.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe you can clarify for us what you mean via genre bending, so we have a little bit more of an idea of how to answer that. So, and moving on while we wait, Lauren Wilhelm says, what if a manuscript struggles with multiple point of view between 2 people? Is this something mentors can and are willing to help with?
I'd kind of hope it was already at the stage where it's not struggling with 2 point of views. Usually if it's struggling with 2 point of views, there's a reason why you're struggling with 2 point of views. If it's struggling in a way that you just slip into a head hop or something every now and again, but you've got a really clear voice in your writing, then I mean I would love to help with that if there's like a strong voice and you've got a really strong concept. But if you're having like major issues with your actual point of views, I think that's I think it would depend on to what extent that is, because just the phrasing of it to me sounds like it's not it's not at the level that I could help with yet.
I would agree, but mainly because multiple point of views, if they have an issue, can affect so many other things within the book, like pacing and structure, that it would be, if it's an issue, something to work on, definitely, but can also be indicative of other larger issues that may affect the entire manuscript.
I think it depends on what the issues are. Like, if you're just having a problem with the transition from one point of view to another, I don't find that to be completely, like, crazy. It's just fine. It's just, you know, learning how to smooth that out. For me, it would just depend on, like I said, the story and what the actual issues are between the 2 point of views. So, anybody else have anything to add before we move on? Good to go? All right. So Catherine D. Fuller says, many mentors are interested in lots of diversity. If my MC isn't obviously diverse, would you pass?
I wouldn't say that's a reason to pass right out the gate. I think it has to do with so much more than just diversity. Like, your writing has to stand up too. Like, if it's a good book with a good premise, I'm going to pick you. Whether you're
I'm surprised, but I'm white, so I'm willing to read about a white person.
I think when people say diversity, they, you know, yes, they want diverse books, but nobody's going to pass a book that, you know, isn't as diverse as the next if it's a good premise. Like Nikki said, it's got to have that premise, it's got to have that voice. But I have no intention of really looking at my inbox and being like, oh, well, this isn't a diverse novel, pass.
I'm looking for a character I can write to with a strong voice and a clear arc. Whether they're diverse, great, but it's not like my primary point I'm looking for. Bonus if it is, but I mean, if you've got a strong character with a voice I love, an arc I connect with, you know, setting that is vivid and real, I'm all in, regardless of whether your character is black, white, Asian, Martian, a goat. I don't care.
I just love that you said Martian. That's awesome.
I don't care. It's more about the character for me than where they come from. Like I said, if you can build in a diverse character into that great book, wow, yes, hands on, totally. But it's not like an automatic no if you're not diverse.
Gotcha. Anybody have anything else to add?
I have a different feeling on that, personally, for me. I think I would prefer books with diverse characters, but I think obviously diverse might be going to a larger issue that we've seen, like in the chat. Diversity doesn't just mean racial diversity within the books, in the manuscripts that we're reading. So your main character can be diverse in other ways, but I'm also looking for books that don't fall back into common tropes that we've had in the genres I'm taking, like fantasy and science fiction, because when you actively, or even passively, which is something I've worked on in my own writing, where you sort of default to a white male character, even if it's just a side character, when you have a book that's fantasy or science fiction populated by only characters like that, it's an active erasure of diversity, which creates a larger issue in world building. So I'm not going to pass on something that isn't diverse, but I would question it with the person I picked to be my mentee and work on it.
For me, it's like if the only thing, am I on? Good. If the only thing the book has going for it is that it's diverse, if that's like its draw card, I don't want that. I want the story that kind of encompasses diversity naturally. I don't want it to be trying specifically just to be diverse. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. I don't want it.
I think you said it pretty much the best. Is yes, we want diverse books, but we don't want the plot to be diversity. We want a story that encompasses diversity in many different ways, not just necessarily racial or sexual, just diverse, just something different. But don't force it on the characters. Make sure it's something natural.
If it has it, awesome. If you're trying to make it have it and it doesn't flow naturally, like it feels like that's specifically what you're aiming to do with the book, like bash somebody over the head with your diversity, that doesn't it doesn't really do anything for me. I need it to feel like a really good story.
Awesome.
Yeah, just building on that, I think that story trumps everything. I think, like Katie was saying, I think diversity is a great thing to have, and I think certainly I would be looking for that and looking maybe even for ways to deepen what's there. But the story has to be there first and foremost, and the diversity needs to be in service of the story and not like an add-on to make it more marketable.
Awesome. I like the way that was put too. Anybody have anything else to add?
For me, I think that it has to do with where your story takes place. If your story's in, say, Italy, and you throw an Eskimo into it for the sake of it, that's not what I'm looking for.
But I love Eskimos in Italy.
But I mean, I think a good example is the cast of Friends, and how they're in New York City, and it took them like 7 seasons to have anybody come on there that was racially diverse. So if you're in New York City and I'm seeing nothing but 30-year-old white people, I'm gonna wonder why. That's all.
Okay, awesome. All right, so Margot Owen says, one revision technique you swear by. For me, it's reading out loud. Simple as that. I like reading out loud because I think I catch more that way.
I'm one of those dorks who changes the font on my manuscript and rereads it in a completely different font. I swear, lines will pop out at you that just don't make sense if they're in a different font. It's like reading it in a different language.
I read backwards from the bottom of my manuscript up.
That is really interesting. That's awesome, actually. I kind of want to try that now.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
I have to read mine for a couple of weeks, and then make sure I read a couple of manuscripts in between, or critique a couple of other manuscripts in between, and then I go back, and it's like mine is a brand new manuscript, and I can rip it to shreds. So that's always fun. So that's how I do it.
I abuse all my friendships with people who edit or write, and I just make them read it over and over again.
I'm a distractible reviser. I'm kind of like, oh, look, birds, like one of those kind of revisers. So to keep myself on track, I put, I revise chapter by chapter, so it's only like 10 pages, but I put an M&M at the bottom of every page. Until I finish it. One squirrel! It's horrible.
That's awesome. It's like your reward.
It's like we caught in the summer, it's a mess. Yeah.
I'll read it on my Kindle and pretend it's a real book, and I just catch everything worse now because I'm like, why is this real book having all these terrible things in it?
Who hasn't gone? Rosalind, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of reverse outlining. I do a little bit of outlining before I start, but I find it really helpful to go sort of chapter by chapter through the whole book and outline it after I've written it, because it makes it a lot more obvious where the arcs aren't working and where I'm missing stuff and where I have a chapter that serves no purpose whatsoever.
Yeah, I do that same thing. I call it a scene map, but I do it in a spreadsheet, and I look through, and I don't only outline it, but I put down what is the purpose of each scene.
Yeah.
I do something similar. I write my synopsis after I've written the very first draft, and that's when I see everything that's wrong. And which is another reason why I think, I know we've all talked about synopsis this week with, a lot of people out there freaking out over it, but I actually think that they use the right way. They're the best revision tool that you have. Everything becomes clearer when you're putting everything down, you're realizing, oh, I forgot about that subplot, or oh, this character kind of just fades into the distance, and there's no ending for them, and there's no arc for them. So, for me, that's probably the best.
I draft from a synopsis. I plot, and so I actually have a synopsis before I draft. So
wow.
I take care of. I'm an obsessive plotter. I have spreadsheets, and I have questions, and I have expansion questions, and I have character and places and things all written out, pages and pages of everything, so I know everything before I start writing.
Yeah, I'm like a half-hearted synopsis writer, but I do the same thing with characters. I have little note cards of each character, motivations, physical description, and where they end up.
And then you have to develop them if you have like other arcs or you have other books in development. You have to like keep a track of them and where they've changed and why their motivations are altering, and I love it.
All right, did everybody get to go? Yeah. All right.
Sorry.
Okay, no, go ahead.
Fan of rewriting it. I've started using Scrivener slowly for the split screen, so I can look at an old draft and rewrite it on a new draft to catch all the weird typos or rephrasing things I want to do.
I do that too. I
love Scrivener.
duplicate them. I duplicate the chapter, and then I'll have the split screen. This way, even then, I still have my previous version. So if I like something in the previous version against what I edit it to, I can always bring it back. So I love Scrivener. It gives you so much flexibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, all right. So next question. Jade Hemming wants to know what happens in the event more than one mentor likes a sub. Do they choose between them, or does the mentee choose?
We put on gloves and we punch each other until we cry.
I mean, it is pitch wars, right? We get to fight over stuff. Brenda, do you want to take that?
Last year. So
It's
this is why I'm so great.
Go ahead, Brenda.
it's paintball guns at 20 paces. Is that the right answer?
I've got
There you
purple.
What's going on? No, what happens is on August 31st, all the mentors give me their picks, and if we have any ties, we go to the mentee, and the mentee has some hours to debate this, and then they have to pick which mentor they want to mentee them.
Awesome.
And then it's paintball guns, 20 paces.
Okay, look, I love paintball, so if y'all ever want to just go out to a field, let's do it.
Of the pitch wars year, paintball.
Oh, that should be a thing. That'd be fun.
No, I have dates. Yeah, I don't. Well.
So Sarah M. asks, what's the best way for a query to reflect a book with a diverse cast?
I did this in mine, and it was the way of I saw a few agents asking for it to be done this way, just to say at the end if it's not the main character, oh my god, I want that dog.
KT, drop the puppy in.
Okay, I'm putting them back now.
Okay. This is diversity friendly at the end where you're describing the book.
Say that again. I'm sorry. It was a little muffled. I barely heard it.
Sorry. I get distracted by dogs easily. Just to have a little note at the end when you're saying the book, it's like of blah words and of blah genre and diversity friendly. Or I listed mine because it was pretty vital to the story when I did it. But
And I mean, I think it's also hard because you can only, well, you should only be naming 3 characters in your query, which is the protagonist, the antagonist, and the love interest or best friend if there's no love interest. So even if you have like this great diverse cast, you know, it's going to be very hard to try to just put that all into the query because it's so condensed. So, anybody have anything to add?
I feel like that's something that I would expect to come out more in the opening pages as opposed to in the query. Sometimes, I mean, not that I've analyzed queries so much from this side of the fence, but when you look at a query and that fact is kind of advertised to me, it just, I don't know, it seems a little cheesy. That's just me. But I wouldn't mind if it were eliminated from the query altogether and I could just look at the story for the story. And if diversity is in it, fantastic. And if it's not, I'll make another decision. I don't know that you need necessarily to put it in the query.
So again, it's a subjective, like the rest of the industry, subjective thing. So your best bet might be to ask the mentors you're planning on subbing to. So the next question is from Steve Hugh Wessner. He says, in a book with multiple point of views, should the synopsis focus on one character or the overarching plot as it affects all characters?
I vote on overarching plot unless you have a very clear main character. So say Brandon Sanderson, for example, he has lots of main characters who none of them really is the main character. So in that case, definitely do an overarching plot. But if you do have a main character and the other ones kind of revolve around that one's plot line, then do it that way.
I agree with Charlie.
Mhm.
So, I mean, just because you have multiple point of views doesn't mean that those characters are all your main characters. It just means that you have multiple point of views. So just follow the arc of your main character or the main storyline, whatever it may be.
If it's an alternating, like if it's a book that literally does have two main characters and they alternate or they have pretty much a 50-50 share, then I would say do like a two point of view. But I know a lot of books, like they said, like Brandon Sanderson's I can't speak. Brandon Sanderson. Did I get it right?
I think so.
I've got his book sitting in my bookcase. I'm like, oh my god, I can't pronounce the name. Anyway, if they're like that, then that's just, then you have a main character. It doesn't matter if some other people talk occasionally.
Awesome.
Like Brenda's the main character, and we're all talking, see?
So Ash says some mentors are saying they want something fresh in terms of werewolves or demons. How can we make ours stand out?
I think do something unexpected. I think look at what people tend to expect from the genre and try and do something different that surprises us. Maybe a setting that we haven't seen before, or an unusual character relationship, or something that I don't know. For me to take on an urban fantasy, which I'm open to, it would have to really surprise me in some way, I think.
Teen Wolf. Have a look at Teen Wolf. It's freaking awesome. For me, that was a fresh twist. I was like bribing myself through edits with being able to watch that. And now I've caught up, and now I'm pissed because I've caught up. So.
A good example of that is if you've read like Gail Carriger, she has werewolves and vampires in her book, but she does such a different way. Like they're totally commonplace. It's like, oh, you're a werewolf? Yeah, okay. It's just so commonplace for them. They're just integrated into society, and that hadn't been done that I've read. And so that was something different, even though the werewolves and vampires themselves weren't that different.
So I'm going to be the odd man out here and just come right out and say I don't do supernatural. I do vampires, werewolves, shapeshifters. I like my thrillers and my horror purely psychological based. So.
I'm taking urban fantasy too, but I specifically put vampires, werewolves, or fae. Like I want to see something different, as opposed to the main creatures that have been in the genre. I would like to see some other creature besides the three main staples of it. So that's how you can make it different for me. Give me a new creature that's going to be in the urban fantasy.
So many other mythological creatures to choose from. Some that are even similar. So.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, if you have the word fae in your query, I am automatically going to be grumpy about reading it.
Okay, so Dana is back, and apparently I said her name right, so yay, Dana New now I can't say it. That didn't happen. So she says, yes, sorry, she meant mixing genres with the genre bending. She meant blending and mixing. Like, what kind of two genres would you guys like to see mashed together?
Science fiction and anything. Everything.
Fantasy and anything. Fantasy murder mystery, fantasy heist novel.
Fantasy and erotica.
That'd be awesome.
Romance and horror. I want to see that. That would be awesome.
I'd love to read a light sci-fi that reads like a YA contemporary, like the science fair gone wrong or something.
I was just going to say that. I'm all about contemporary sci-fi and historical fantasy.
Awesome.
Those two separate. Not historical fantasy that's contemporary sci-fi, obviously. But you can do either or. That'd be great.
For me, it just varies. I'm very eclectic. I like to see different things happen. So if it's different, I'm more than likely to give it a shot. So.
If you have something like Event Horizon, gimme. Gimme all the Event Horizons, please.
So Jamie Powell says, mentors, when a character speaks with an accent, would you prefer the writing to exhibit this by purposely misspelling words?
No.
Really distracting.
No. I think that's a giant consensus there.
No.
Plain, you can't do it.
you could put, their accent gets thicker or whatever, but don't misspell words. That makes it so hard to
Arnold
read.
Schwarzenegger, Terminator.
Yeah.
That tells me what they sound like. Please don't do the "What will you want?" and I'm just gonna go, no, please.
I mean,
Yeah,
and
no.
like
Don't
the
misspell.
down because different accents talk in different styles with cadence and word choice, and even that would help a little more.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
I'm okay
I
with the
don't-
grammar being weird, and I'm okay with throwing a vocabulary that you don't expect, because that'll give it away. Like bloody gives me British, right? But don't misspell it. That's horrible.
I don't mind, like, if you put take the G off so somebody doesn't, enunciate letters. Like, I don't mind stuff like that. But if you're completely misspelling words and trying to make it an accent that way, it's going to drive me bananas, and I'm going to wind up skipping the dialogue because I can't read it. So,
as somebody
and a little
who
bit
has
goes
an
a long way.
accent, I prefer it not to be depicted in the book.
Rosalind, go ahead.
Oh, I just was going to say a little bit goes a long way. I think, like they were saying, a few keywords can tell us that there's an accent. I read a book that all the dialogue was done in Scottish dialect, and it was so hard to read, and the misspelling, I spent the entire time focusing on what they were saying and not what was going on in the plot. So you don't want anything that's going to pull us out of the story, and I think really heavy dialogue does.
If I start reading a bad Southern accent, it's over for me. I can't read the book.
I also think if you think of setting as a character, if you play your setting right, whether it be in 18th century Europe or the Deep South or the Middle East, if your setting is framed right and has the right flavor, then a lot of the accents and a lot of the intonations can be inferred.
Yeah. So the general consensus is no, don't give us a bunch of misspelled words to make an accent work, because it's not going to make the accent work. It's going to irritate people. So, all right. Our next question is DM Domasea. Sorry if I said that wrong. Can romance in YA, especially science fiction fantasy, be secondary or thirdary to the main theme of a sibling relationship, sisters, and still be a draw?
Yes.
It so can. It so can. It so can. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So Trisha and Rosalind are all yes. I'm seeing lots of yeses across the board here. So I think you got a pretty good rundown of people who are okay with that.
It's me.
For me,
never needs to be the focus for me.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I've read lots of books with romance as focus, and I'm fine with that. But I also really enjoy books where romance is not the main focus, and where it's like a subplot or side plot or non-existent.
All right, Cassandra.
But for me,
go ahead. Sorry.
Can I add that? For me, sometimes, especially in genre fiction, sci-fi, fantasy, it's actually frustrating for me if it's primarily a romance, because I don't pick up a sci-fi or fantasy novel for a romance. If I want to read romance, I pick up a romance novel, and so I would much rather see it secondary. And it seems like I've been seeing more agent calls, in fact, for specifically sibling relationships. I would love to see a good friendship, a good girl-girl friendship as the focus of something rather than the romance. Although I do love romance, I should add that too.
All right, before we move on, anybody else? All right, we're good. So Cassandra, hold on. It goes off the screen, and I clicked the wrong button, and I'm going to do that from time to time. Cassandra Newbold asks, if you had to get a tattoo of your favorite line or quote of a book or movie, what would it be? I mean, I have Right Drunk. I know it's upside down, but I actually have Right Drunk and It's Sober on my wrist because Hemingway said it, and it's one of my favorite quotes. And I have an inkwell on my arm that comes in with the lilies. So I guess that works for me. Right Drunk and It's Sober. I already have it.
I sadly didn't get a tattoo because I work for everything, but I would totally get from Princess Bride book, look on the bright side, we're having an adventure, Fezzik, and most people live and die without being as lucky as we are.
Holy crap, that's really long.
I would have a shoulder blade and we're like razorbacks and be like, yeah.
All right, I'm going to tier this so we make it easier on ourselves. Marianne, what would you get? Are you thinking? Or is she frozen?
No, she's there.
Who?
Marianne.
Marianne, what would you get?
It went all wonky on me for a second. I would get Mischief Managed.
Awesome. That's an awesome one. Lindsay?
I was gonna say, does the
That's a good one.
or the path the walker?
What was that?
Does the walker choose the path or the path the walker?
Oh, that's a good one. KT?
I have a set of very obscure favorite books, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I would get out of them, but I would definitely get something out of those books.
She's like, I'm thinking about it, but I don't know what it would be. What are the books at least? Tell us what the
They're
books
the
are.
Time Master trilogy by Louise Cooper, and I would get something said by Tarad somewhere in there because he is like my favorite character of all time. So,
Jeannie?
Mine would definitely be just the word always from Severus Snape in the Harry Potter series, which is sort of silly because it's only one word, but I guess it's the context of the conversation. It's very romantic.
Very cool. Charlie?
I don't have a really good one. The two that come to my mind is Stephen King's The Road to Hell is Paved with Adverbs, and or just get Lan Mandragoran's name tattooed over my heart because I love him from The Wheel of Time.
Rosalind?
I've been trying to think. Probably, I'd probably have to find something clever out of one of Connie Willis's books. I don't know. I would have to have more time to comb through them because I would probably spend too much time trying to decide otherwise.
Trisha?
Probably, I'm a sucker for first lines. It'd probably be, it was a bright, cold day in April and the clock is striking 13.
Yes, I love that.
So George Orwell, 1984.
Awesome. Brenda, do you have one?
I have sort of an emergency at the moment, so I'm skipping.
All right. No problem. All right. Actually, though, if I were to get one from a movie, I think it would be I Aim to Misbehave from Serenity. So that would be my movie quote that I would get tattooed on me because I love that quote.
movie isn't fair.
But they asked movie. They said book or movie.
Oh, see.
I said that. You can rewind
Then
later.
I
I
would-
said
I would do Blade Runner in a heartbeat.
that. Now she's got her quote. What's the quote?
Quite an experience to live in fear, isn't it? That's what it is to be a slave.
Nice. All right, so our next question is from Julie Weathers. She says, is torture, not graphic, a deal breaker in fantasy?
No.
I write psychological horror.
What's wrong with torture?
I'm getting a lot of no's here.
I mean, it'll be subjective with agents and editors, since some don't like violence, but
I think it's the context. I think violence for the sake of violence and gore for the sake of gore detracts from the actual book. But if it's in context and it has purpose, has a purpose there and moves the plot along, or shows how the character is struggling, then it's okay. But it's context, go in context.
I want you to get one epic fantasy book that doesn't have torture in it. Come on.
I know, right?
It's usually there somewhere.
There's got to be one. That's what I'm thinking.
If it's not graphic, if it's not like really graphic, I'm great with it. I actually probably wouldn't even care if it was really graphic, because torture. They did a lot back in those sort of worlds and stuff, because they all exist, of course.
Awesome. All right, so Jake Devlin says, how about a current anti-political thriller where a billionaire buys the U.S. government and takes over? No, not Trump. All right, that at least made everybody laugh, so. So is anybody interested in political thrillers, or anti-political thrillers, I'm sorry?
Not me, sorry.
Not me. I'm not a political thriller person.
No.
I think that's a strike on this group, but there are still plenty more mentors out there, so lots of us. But sorry, Jake. I mean, you did make us laugh, though, so kudo points there. Elizabeth Roderick says, my beginning is my trouble spot. Which of you might consider a MS with a rough beginning if the voice is there?
I would definitely would. My Pitch Wars mentor from last year, she helped me revise the first 5 chapters of my book the most out of all of the chapters. And I'm glad she saw the potential in it, because that helped so much for my manuscript and helped me get my agent in the end. So I would definitely, since she did that for me, be willing to, if it was there with a good premise and a great voice, and I had a vision, I would totally take on something with a wonky beginning.
I agree. I don't mind rough beginnings because I generally, sorry, my dog just like went bananas and wanted up. She was scratching at my legs like crazy. I tend to start in the wrong spot, so I'm usually like editing my beginning more than anything else. So I think a lot of people have a problem with beginnings. So I have no problem. As long as the voice is there and the story is there, beginnings can be changed.
I actually would welcome that. I love working on the first couple of pages.
Yep, I love working on the beginning too.
So I think we're all in consensus that the beginning can suck sometime, and we like working on it and making it better. So I think you're okay with that. So, looking for the next question. Sorry, I got thrown because I have a tiny dog who was being crazy.
Adorable.
Well, she started talking, like, because she talks and not barks, like, she makes weird noises. So I was like, okay. All right, next question. Naz Kutub, sorry if I said that wrong. My dual narrative sci-fi MCs are a 16-year-old girl and a 12-year-old boy. Should I go middle grade or YA?
I think it depends on the theme for the overall book. Yeah. If it has more middle grade theme, then it'll be a middle grade. But if it has more of a YA arc, that's a toughie though.
I'm like the first book that comes to mind when you say 16-year-old MC and a 12-year-old side character. The first thing I think of is Marcy Curtis is the One Thing, which is not out yet, but I had the pleasure of reading in art form. And if the theme is YA and the main character, your main character is dealing with some teenage issues, then I would say go YA.
So I think the consensus is it comes down to what the theme of the book is.
Yeah. Can I add something to that? One of the useful things that I ever heard about YA and middle grade was from Jennifer Nielsen, who wrote The False Prince. And she said that middle grade a lot of times is about the character trying to find their place, trying to fit in, and YA is more about the individual breaking out of the group and finding themselves. So if that's helpful, maybe thinking what kind of arc you have in your story.
Okay, I think that's really good advice. That's a great answer. Holy crap! It's already 8:53. So that was a fast hour. That happens. So what I'll do now is I will go down the line with everybody, and if you have anything to say that wasn't able to be said, then feel free, and then Brenda can go last because I know she has an announcement to make. Does that work for everybody? Sure. Okay. All right. So let's start with Jeannie.
What was the question?
Closing statements. Anything you want to say?
I confess, I'm like looking at my Twitter.
We're all looking at Twitter. It's okay.
God. Okay. Repeat. Wait. So what was the question?
There is no question. We're doing closing statements. So basically, anything you want to close with.
So clearly, if you want a mentor who can juggle 2 things at once, I'm not the person. You know what? I was on one of these chats last week, and I said the same thing, which is that don't sweat this. The odds are that you won't make it, and I hate saying that, but don't set your expectations too high. There are so many opportunities for other pitch contests as well, some of which Brenda herself hosts, and also there's good old-fashioned querying. So if you've been in this process and you've been working on your query and your first pages in order to prepare for Pitch Wars, you've already made it and you're in great shape. So if you need to enter other contests or go straight to cold querying, don't worry about it. You're going to be fine.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeannie. Charlie?
Closing statements. To go with what Maurice just said, It's true. You don't have to depend on pitch wars. I mean, I got everything that I did through cold querying, so you don't need to depend on pitch wars. As for subbing to me for pitch wars, if you have anything weird in there, or like really different, or romance gives you major points, I love kissing, so that works. Also, elves and fairies, I'm going to be kind of weird with, so consider that before subbing.
Thank you, Charlie. Rosalind?
I really think Jeannie said it so great, but I think Pitch Wars is a wonderful opportunity. But I think the best thing about it is the community. And I think if you're out there, if you're on Twitter, if you're connecting with other writers, if you've been working on your manuscript, then you've already benefited. Pitch Wars was a wonderful experience for me last year, but my agent doesn't do pitch contests. So it's not the end-all, be-all. I think do the best you can. And enjoy the ride. It really is. It's crazy. It's wonderful. It's frustrating and heartbreaking, but we're all in it. We're all in it together. So,
Tricia?
Gosh, they've all pretty much summed it up. It's totally about the community. I have a habit of, I've been a mentor for a couple of years now. I have a habit of collecting my mentees. They're like my writing tribe. But my advice, not pitch wars, but just generally writing in general, is don't give up and don't compare your success or your struggles to other writers. Everybody has their own individual path, whether it's traditionally pubbed or indie pubbed or just writing as a hobby. Do it because you love it, and you're going to be okay.
Nikki?
I think the main thing I want to say is, it takes a lot of writers to support this industry. So, no matter what happens at the end of Pitch Wars, we'll still be your friends. So don't, go on an unfollowing spree and then hate us. I would love to still chat with you and talk writing. And, I do query critiques for people all the time, and I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. It's just a big community, and we want you to be a part of it, even if we don't pick you. We can only pick one, and it's going to be so hard.
Mary Ann?
So one of my friends that I made in Pitch Wars this year, she had a birthday yesterday, and I said, I love you, I'm so glad I met you, and she said, yes, the Pitch Wars community is the best thing that happened. Maybe the only thing better would be getting an agent. And I have an agent, and I thought to myself, I loved getting an agent, but meeting all of these people was actually the big win for me. So I would say, I know your sites are all on, regardless, reach out to somebody on the tag. There's so many people out there right now. Make a friend, swap your stuff, make a CP. There's just so much right now. There's so much activity on the feed. It's a great chance for you to reach out to somebody and make a friend.
Awesome. Lindsay?
Yeah, the most important part of Pitch Wars and of writing, as a part of it at least, is community and being a part of the writing community. And I was, oddly, never thought it would be. I did start working with my agent via a pitch contest, not Pitch Wars, but there's so many other ways to get an agent or get published or write more or anything, but I think the most important thing I took out of Pitch Wars, at least, was improving my writing and meeting all the other people and talking to all the other writers, and I met all of my critique partners through Pitch Wars, basically. So now the writing community itself really became what it was for me because of Pitch Wars.
Awesome. KT?
I entered my first pitch contest in 2012 with Brenda's first Pitch Madness, and I met her, and I met Erica Chapman, and I met a whole other heap of people, and I got my first agent, and it was an amazing experience, and it opened up the world to me years ago. So, and it's still here, and it's getting bigger and better, and it's what you make of it. Seriously, it's what you do to it. It's how you view it, and all you have to do is reach out and say, hey, anybody looking for a CP, or anybody want to swap first chapters? And I've seen it going on the hashtag, and that's just how you meet people. And how you get people who understand where you are in your writing and understand where you are in your journey. And as much as, our friends and family outside of the writing community might like to tune into that, or, might like to commiserate with us, they don't understand it. So it's just a chance to have people who share that same goal with you, and it's a great experience. So whether you get in or not, it doesn't matter. It's like just part of the journey. So, yeah. So that's
Okay.
oh yeah, give me all your sci-fi. No, I want the space operas.
All the fighting. See, look, we already have a war going on. It's okay.
Wait,
All right, so
you're doing adult too, aren't you? Oh,
Yeah.
on.
see what's starting here, guys. So I know you
ahead.
guys are getting anxious for Brenda's announcement. So I'm just gonna say that I'm just gonna piggyback off everybody else. Community is the best thing about Pitch Wars, because if you immerse yourself into it and you find the people who are on the journey with you, it's going to help you so much more to achieve your goals than trying to walk the road alone. I said once that maybe writing used to be a solitary endeavor, but really it's such a community now, and being a part of it is going to be the best thing you can do for yourself. So, that being said, I will now tune it over to Brenda, who has a wonderful announcement for you guys.
Hi guys, this is the part where I get on and I talk for a really long time so that I make you guys more nervous. No, just kidding. So anyway, there's crickets. No one's laughing. Where is Tom with his like
I was smiling.
sound effects?
I just mute myself.
Okay, that like fell flat. Anyway, I do have some announcements first. I don't know if you all noticed on my blog, I have a Teen Eyes editorial contest happening August 18th through something or other, but it's on the blog. But it's for middle grade and YA, and you can win a critique from one of the Teen Eyes. They're teens reading your book from one of them. And it will piggyback with your mentor if you get picked for Pitch Wars, and you also get this critique. You'll have a teenager reading your stuff for your middle grade and YA to see if you got that voice. And I've used them for my middle grade book. It was Brent who actually critiqued it when he was with Teen Eyes. So anyway, they're really good, so sign up for that if you want. Also, let's see what else. Something else. Oh, okay. We have a chapter critique giveaway that some of the mentors are participating in. It's going to be on Monica Bustamante Wagner's site and some other people's sites, so I'm going to tweak that soon. And what it is you can win a full chapter critique from one of them, and it's like after all this, if you don't make it into Pitch Wars, you can get a chapter critique from a mentor. I'm going to be doing one too. So that's that. I should have made a list because I'm going, what am I supposed to say here? Okay, oh, I forgot. Okay, so here's a surprise. All of you know that every year I say I'm not going to mentor because I don't have time, but I always itch to mentor. So this year I'm teaming up with Erica Chapman. I'm going to be her co-mentor. So I'll be taking everything that she's taking, which I have no idea what she's taking, but I take everything. And we work really well together. I'm sort of like her. She's going to be the major quartet. I'll be the minor. So, but you'll see my name on her stuff. So I'm excited to do that and work with her and her team. And the biggest announcement that I know that all of you have been waiting for, and everyone was telling me I should tell you that we're canceling Pitch Wars this year. But we're not. We aren't, Natasha.
We're not. I thought it would be a nice fun joke.
Dun, 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 dun. Where's the music? Where's Tom? Who's doing the Are you ready? The submission window is now open.
I'm happy.
All right, guys, so you heard it. The submission window is officially open for Pitch Wars. So if you are ready to submit...
I could have broke it just now, just so you know.
Yeah, I already went to your website to make sure that I could get there and be there. But anyways...
Is it there? Did I do it right?
If you're ready, go submit. If you're not ready, don't rush it. When does the submission close, Brenda?
Okay, the submission is still going to close on August 17th at 11:59 p.m. It's right before midnight, before the clock turns to the 18th. So you have plenty of time. Don't rush sending it in. You don't have to be the first entry in. Everybody is going to read their full email list. They won't miss you, nothing. Take your time, and this just allows the mentors to start reading so that they don't have a large reading time. You know, they have more time to read. And it also helps my site, so maybe I won't like blow up Gmail again or anything like that. But take your time, enter at your leisure. You have until 11:59 p.m. August 17th, which is that a Monday, guys?
That's Monday.
Okay, Monday, and right before midnight, it'll close before it turns to the 18th, so everyone knows. And that someone was sending some sort of tweet around that had last year's information. Be very careful. Make sure you're looking at this year's information because it's the 17th, not the 18th. Hear me? It's the 17th, not the 18th. Okay?
Awesome. So good luck, everybody. Happy Pitch Wars. Get ready for a fantastic ride.
Thank you, guys. It was fun listening to you all tonight.
It was so much fun having everybody on. I love this time of year when I get to talk to all the mentors and just have a good time. So, again, guys, don't rush. You have a few days, so if you still need to take the weekend to finish tweaking your manuscript, feel free. It's not a race. We're going to read everything you submit to us. And also make sure you are submitting to the right mentors for the right age categories and the right genres, because that's going to knock you down if you submit to the wrong one. So double, triple check everything before you hit that submit button. Anybody have anything to add?
Yeah, we just got our first submission. So that means at least one form worked.
That's awesome.
Oh, wait, that's the one I sent earlier. It might not be working.
It was a funny ha-ha. You guys got it. All right, guys, so happy submitting, and we'll all be around. So if you even have questions for us before you decide to submit, feel free to hit us up on Twitter, and we'll be happy to answer any and all your questions. Write creatively, drink responsibly, and good luck for Pitch Wars, guys. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.